Thank you for visiting LarryTanoury.com. This is County Legislator Larry Tanoury Jr., and the following is a clip of my speech on the floor of the legislature on March 26th regarding my feelings for pay raises for elected officials.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, I'd say I actually, for a moment there, was very excited when I heard Mr. Flisnick start speaking. I agree with much of the something he said, but when he voted yes at the end, I was a little confused. I don't think that this is a time, that we just get it over with, get it done with. It should have been taken care of a long time ago, but it doesn't then become incumbent upon us. We talk every year about discretionary spending when we're making budgets, and this is one of the small portions of discretionary spending that we do have, and it happens to be an elected official. I would actually call for a freeze on all salaries of appointed non-contract positions and elected positions. I think that would actually be fiscally conservative point to take, but I digress. I want to go on with my compared statement here. This issue is certainly not a new one to this board. In fact, its debate has long preceded my election. I have deliberated tirelessly about what the right decision is, and of course, in a perfect world, all employees, public and private, would be paid fairly. But in government, and as proper stewards of the public's money, we must prioritize our spending. Starting with that premise, I asked myself whether this was truly a priority. I have listened to all sides and recognized that there is a disparity in pay between the office of sheriff and his subordinates. I have spoken with the sheriff and come to respect him a great deal. Actually, I've spoken very highly of him in our caucus. There are a few interesting points that need to be raised, though. The disparity in pay for the sheriff has existed for many years. All of those years, my colleagues on the Republican side of the aisle there have held the majority. In fact, for most of those years, they have held what we call a supermajority. The salary for this position should have been raised in increments over those years. This would have been much more acceptable to the taxpayers. However, the issue has become a political football that has finally hit the fan. Now, my colleagues are asking the taxpayers to allow a one-shot $20,000 raise in salary for an elected official. This comes at a time when we are being warned of a budget shortfall for 2009. The country is in a recession. Property and sales taxes continue to rise, and unfunded mandates continue to burden the counties across New York State. We are desperately seeking ways to consolidate government in order to save money. The County Charter Revision Commission is debating the reduction of the size of this board as we speak. I believe the county executive said it perfectly when he was quoted as saying, in terms of salaries, you cannot arbitrarily just take one and make a change. I think the county executive showed real leadership and a sense of empathy to the taxpayers. And I ask that he use his unique power of executive veto in the event that this raise is passed today. In the event he doesn't, I will encourage the people of Oneida County to join me in an effort to seek the 700+ signatures required to place this issue on the ballot. I have spoken at length with my constituents in the 25th District, and the sentiment is unanimous. They won't accept a pay raise for an elected official during the middle of their term. The median income in my district is roughly $16,000. In all good conscience, I cannot support a raise that in and of itself equals more than most of my constituents earn all year long. Now, I expect the response of the majority party will be that the Democrats also failed to act on this issue in the past. They will also use their usual response that we failed to offer alternatives. Those arguments simply won't suffice. As we all know, there was a similar panel created a couple years ago to study and recommend raises to elected officials. That panel likewise voted 7-0 to recommend pay raises. However, the issue never made it to this floor for a vote. This year, the majority party originally attempted to bypass the panel, which is required by the county charter to study and recommend pay raises to elected officials. They only created such a panel after I wrote a letter to the law department on the very day that the issue was to be acted on by the Public Safety and Courts, Laws, and Rules Committee. This would have clearly violated Article 6, Section 614 of the county charter, which was only created in 2004. Therefore, I must question whether the process was above board, and more importantly, I question in such financially difficult times, why such a sense of urgency? And is this truly an example of prioritizing our spending? Furthermore, I believe the issue of settling the contracts for the rank and file sheriff's deputies and 911 workers takes precedence over this. We should be ensuring that the men and women that put their lives on the line every day are paid a fair wage before acting on a raise for someone that knew full well what their salary was when they asked the people of Oneida County to hire them to this position. And to those of a certain political affiliation that have expressed their quote-unquote disappointment in me for not supporting this raise, I can only say this. I have received your platform, I've reviewed it closely, and would argue that I have consistently upheld the values of that platform, and I believe my vote today is the financially conservative stance on this issue. Therefore, I've come full circle and must answer the question of whether this is truly a priority. And with that said, I must respectfully vote no and ask again for the county executive to issue an executive veto.